next week, just
Okay.
because I don't know how far this power outage is. I would hate for somebody to want to join the conversation and not be able to. So we're trying to
All right.
limit our agenda.
I don't disagree with that at all. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. So I will call this meeting to order of Sunday County Commissioners for Thursday, September 3rd. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice
justice
for all. Okay, Commissioner Paradiso, how about a prayer today?
Okay, let's get our thoughts together. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this curveball you threw us before the meeting. Things happen, and we hope that all those that are joining understand and that we can have a productive meeting and do what's best for the county today. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Nikki, how about roll call?
Commissioner Kirschner,
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso. He's here. Commissioner Thomas.
I'm here.
Here.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so now I need a motion to approve the digital audio video recording from last week's meeting, August 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Nikki, roll call.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. So we are deferring the three items on the top, which was the building department, job and family services, and the health insurance. Is that correct?
Kathy's still on here because we have it down under the fund transfer. So when we get to new business, we can just have her jump in and explain, talk about the foster care.
Okay, that would be fine. So we start out with your report, Stacy.
I'm gonna cut it short. I need the share screen. And here is this week's update from the committee for the Coronavirus Relief Fund. These have all been vetted through the committee. They've all deemed it allowable. There was a few items we pulled off for next week, but as you can tell, we're starting to get in some of the payroll for public safety. The clerk had a few things, microphones for webcams for online meetings, masks, different things. So if you guys have any questions on those, if you see this week's will be a total of $181,950.11. So our total for the last 3 weeks, we're at $288,783.39.
Okay.
So
Good. Well, I motion we approve the expenses as presented. Reimbursement.
Second.
Okay, very good. Any other discussion about that? Hearing none.
I have one question, Mike. Thank you.
Yes.
So we have the original money that we're working at, right, for reimbursement, Stace. Did we get another wave of money that was added to that? Is that yet?
yes, we've got
Like 400,000.
this is the new distribution.
Okay.
That came in, and the auditor's office has got redistributed our amount. You can see down here is an additional $461,945.15. She highlighted the areas that have submitted resolutions and that will get this additional money. As you can tell, there are a few that aren't highlighted that have not submitted a resolution, so they have not gotten their first round. They will not get the second round unless they submit a resolution. So I think Julie was going to try to reach out to them again, just to see if they would reconsider.
So these are townships and villages. So the 461 is additional money, or is that,
That is just ours for the county.
that's
The
it for the county.
total,
That's right.
the
Okay.
total was $1 million that everybody got, that we got all together.
Okay.
Okay, so Stacy, the amounts in the right-hand column, some of them are highlighted, some of them aren't.
Right.
Example, Adams Township, let's take the top one, 10,097. Where did that number come from?
That is the formula, the local government formula that the state has asked us to use for this distribution. So the percentage for townships for the local government formula is the 14.25%.
And of those townships that have submitted, have they submitted an amount equal to or near the amount that they can be distributed?
I don't know what they've submitted yet. Like Big Springs, Clinton, I don't know if they're at their max. I think the last time, I'm pretty sure City of Tiffin had the ability or had the enough to cover their full amount, so they'll get the extra 183,000. As I know right now, it's following the same date pattern as the first set. I know the new legislation is looking to extend that, but I don't think that's been approved. I think it's back to the House today. I'm not quite sure. So they're looking to help us kind of spread out the deadline a little bit. So
Stace, just forgive me on this one. So we've got approximately 2 million round one and 1 million round two collectively. So Seneca County as a whole has $3 million rounded for COVID use, and we've approved 228,000 of it.
yeah, ours was 288. Yes.
288. Okay.
Okay.
So there's money out there, and so we would obviously encourage the villages and townships to spend the time to see if they've got expenses that could be reimbursed, because we've got the money.
Yes.
Okay.
And I understand there'll be a third round, right? There's still money
Right.
that's not deployed.
So do we have a plan, or is there any thought about the fiscal officers in those townships and or villages to get them together to try to help them submit what they've got coming? Or if they're not going to submit it, we're just going to let it pass?
I know both Charlene and Julie have reached out to the townships and villages multiple times to try to encourage and help out. Looks like I got a message from Charlene. Village Township is considering it, working on their resolution. So I guess that's good news. So
I'm here. I can give you a bit of an update if you'd like, from what I've heard.
Sure.
So Venice Township has reviewed what they could use the money for, and I believe they are in the process of getting their resolution in. Attica is on target to spend everything, plus Loudon Township's on target to spend, or Hopewell Township's on target to spend theirs, plus the village of Bettsville. I met with them this week and they are in process. I actually talked to them again yesterday, so they should be on target as well. And then the other townships or villages, it's been kind of just a conversation back and forth. As soon as I hear something, I would be glad to share that with Stacy, if that helps.
Yeah, I just hate to leave this money on the table if they've got some documentation they can put in. Okay.
And
So
whatever they don't use will come back to the county.
right.
And I think that's where we need to be prepared with some business resilience type funding, because we're going to get a third round and it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million. So, and it's all going to happen pretty quick. So I think we need a plan to deploy those funds. I've gotten some inquiries from, businesses and whatnot on how we might be walking that forward. So, I don't know if we ask TSEP to do that or if we take that internal and get our plans ready. But I think that has to happen in September.
Yeah, and Shane, you brought that up a few meetings ago, and I was going to bring that up now that Stace, it appears to me we're not going to use all the $3 million. And to Shay's point, there's a third round coming. So I'm not clear. Go ahead.
I think we're going to have we're going to spend ours. And if the legislation changes, the next round, they're trying to push, so it's revenue replacement. Just so you guys know that, we can do whatever programs you want to do, but they're trying to get the next round to be revenue replacement because they understand that COVID is affecting our revenue. So not sure where that stands, but I know that's what they were talking about.
I guess I just would like to understand better what parameters we have of unused money back to, because we're going to have to make that decision in a short period of time. So it's not too early to begin thinking about, and the amount that we're going to have to play with, we don't know yet, right? But the process.
Yeah, I'd rather have a plan and not use it than, scramble and deploy it haphazardly. So we've got the professional staff and our partners to do this. So yeah. I think between regional planning and TSEP.
Back to you, Mike. Sorry.
Well, it might be a good time if Mike Diddle's on the phone, if he could kind of give us an update as to what the possibility is of using it for revenue replacement. Mike, are you out there?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. So it's been an interesting dynamic. I know that Senator Matt Dolan, who carried the legislation to expand the money that goes out to the local governments across Ohio, said that we need to be supportive of using this for less restrictive items like safety services, payroll, et cetera. They are still holding back, as you know, a little bit of this money, a good chunk of it, and they're expecting a third round. My understanding is that the House and Senate delegations will soon be convening a meeting with the Ohio congressional delegation to further discuss U.S. Treasury guidelines to make it less restrictive. Because I know that you're all going to get this money, as others are as well, and there's very little that you can do with it at this point, so it's still very much under discussion.
So is there anything that we should be doing from a lobbying standpoint? I'm talking about the commissioners or the county with our representatives asking for a specific,
Yes, I think so. I think it's wise for the commissioners to be in touch with, and Highbridge can certainly help with this as well, to be in touch with your congressional member, Congressman Jim Jordan, because what we really need is that Treasury guidance to change. That is going to be the linchpin. And from my understanding, even though there is federal legislation out there that says we need Treasury to be a little bit more lenient on these guidelines so we can use it for other COVID-related expenses, that Treasury may have the ability to just make that change independently. So I think that talking to the congressional delegation, talking to Senator Rob Portman and Senator Sherrod Brown, they are all everybody has been supportive of this change. A lobbying effort to them is, I think, very, very worthwhile.
Okay. All right. So anyways, we have a motion on the floor to accept.
Could I make an amendment to the motion that we authorize Highbridge to interact with federal legislators on our behalf to further expand the access to these funds?
Sure. You want to modify your second, Commissioner?
Yeah. Is that okay, Tone?
Yeah. So the motion is to approve the expenses, Stacy, or to ratify and approve Stacy's what she presented. But then, yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Do they need to be separate motions?
It can be separate. I don't care.
They could.
We're just in the middle of discussion on this motion.
Yeah, I think they should be separate. Let's vote on the first one to approve, to approve what Stacy and her committee have approved. We'll ratify that and then we'll go to you, Shane. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay, Nikki, go ahead and take the roll call on the original motion.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes. We got some delay problems here, or? Okay. All right, so then we offer another motion regarding hybrid.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we authorize Highbridge to interact with our federal legislators to increase the flexibility of the spending of the CARES Act money.
I'll second the motion without the echo.
Okay. Any additional discussion on this one? Hearing none, Nikki, hit it again.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes. Okay, Stacy, anything else here to add?
No, not for me.
Okay. Commissioner reports, Commissioner Paradiso?
None at this time.
Okay. Commissioner,
Just briefly participated in the downtown development committee this morning and did some strategic planning. So that's an important process, and I appreciate their effort there. And it just reminded, and tonight I have GLCAP, their strategic planning, and it reminded me that typically we have done some kind of strategic planning. So President Kirschner, if we want to do something like that before the end of the year, I would be open to it. That's all I have.
I think it's a great idea, at the very least, to get it off the shelf and see what progress we've made if we want to make any modifications to that. So Stacy, I will charge you with coming up with a work session at some point in October or before to review the strategic plan for the county. Okay. All right. Great suggestion. Okay. Well, for my part, we have this ongoing, anything else, Commissioner Thomas? No? Okay. For my part, we have ongoing discussion about the museum, right? I sent out my thoughts, and Jimmy, if you can get those up, I'd appreciate it. So I think it's always good to talk about what we agree with, right? So the first thing is that last week, Commissioner Thomas put together a roadmap in his mind. And I certainly agree with the fact that there should be a stakeholder group that would include economic development and the chamber and some businesses from Tiffin to be part of that advisory board. There has been in the past a museum advisory board comprised similarly, but we obviously need to tweak that some. I don't believe that we need to add another layer of bureaucracy. And by that, I mean, I don't believe that we need to have one of our employees doing the accounting and the managing of the museum while someone else acts as curator. I know that we could possibly squeeze this funding for the museum in the budget, but my statement here is just because we can doesn't mean that we should. Over the past 4 to 5 years, the Barnes-Deinzer Foundation has put in $50,000 in improvements, and over the last 7 or 8 years, it's been closer to $100,000. I don't need to give you the litany of things that they've done, but they have supported the museum since their founding in 1977. $70,000 is the annual ticket for operating the museum. However, there are some deferred maintenance problems there that require in excess of $100,000 to take care of. Our charge is to make certain that we are as efficient with the money that we use as possible. In February, before the crisis here, before the COVID, there were 56 guests, and just mathematically, that means about $100 per guest we spent that month. there is a conflict between the foundation and the Historical Society, and I'm not putting any blame anywhere. It's just that we have attempted on a number of occasions to get them together to come to a common understanding as to how to run the museum. They do have common goals, but the fact is that, as the divorce attorney said, it appears to be irreconcilable differences. We just cannot get them to bury the hatchet, if you will. And that lack of cooperation and collaboration has brought us to a point where we have to make a difficult decision about what happens with the museum. In my opinion, and observing things over the years, that the private sector does a much better job at running anything than does the government. I don't know why, if we have the opportunity to turn it to the private sector, why the government would continue to be quote unquote in charge. It does add additional layers that don't seem to be necessary. So what I've done is try to take a deep breath, step back, take the personalities out of the whole decision process, and decide what it is that is in the best interest of those we represent, the taxpayers we represent. So what are the advantages of the foundation's offer? Well, they have the financial resources to lend stability to the museum's future. Each time, as you guys know, there's a financial hiccup, the museum is one of the first things to go. It would reduce the burden on the county budget and the taxpayers. And I believe it would also highly increase the probability that the museum would be here for our children and grandchildren into the future. The savings created by that decision, could be used for such things as EMS coverage, which is very important to us, or sheriff's office training, or equipment, or bulletproof vests, or you name it, even putting it in the budget stabilization fund. I believe the $70,000 that we're spending could be used much better for the county than taking it to the museum, which we have the offer on the table to relieve us of that. This isn't a personal indictment on anybody's leadership. You got to consider long-term sustainability of the museum. We certainly hope that the volunteers find a way to put their differences aside with the foundation and continue to be part of this process. It doesn't look very likely at this point, but we would, in a perfect world, that would be the end result. There isn't anyone out there that I'm aware of who would be willing to take over the operations of the museum other than the foundation, whose purpose it is to fund historical museums in Seneca County. I don't know of any other museum in Ohio, and I have called a number of them, who don't have a complete list of inventory of what they have. As you guys know, we have made that charge back in long before this. And the last time we went through this process, I said, nobody can run the museum until we have a complete inventory and understand what's there. We did that in 17. I kind of caved on that. We opened the museum. The fact is that, 3 years later, we still don't have an inventory of what is actually there and what belongs to the county. Not only would we save $50,000 with this, but we'd also save all the time and effort that we put in this issue, today being a prime example of that. It seems to me that, once every few weeks, we have some type of discussion as it relates to the museum. We don't want to give the taxpayers the burden if we can avoid it. And we want to make sure that we do what increases the odds of the long-term viability of the museum. I believe this is the answer. So in sum, if we try to remove the emotion and the personalities, I believe that the decision is relatively simple. It's the most logical decision, the best interest of the taxpayers. It does what's best for the long-term sustainability of the museum, and it reduces the financial burden on the county. So I will ask both of you to please review what I've said here. I am going to put this in the form of a motion next week. Of course, the county prosecutor, our counsel, will review the proposal. There will be some additions, quoting us harmless from any concerns there are in the museum, and some other amendments that that will be in the form of a contract that the prosecutor. Yeah. So that's kind of my version of, as Commissioner Thomas put it, the roadmap. And I believe, after dealing with this thing for 6 years, that that is the best solution. Welcome any comments that you might have.
Yeah, I guess two things, and I guess going back to what we agree on is, you know, I don't think we're in a position to turn over the museum until we have an inventory. And so I think we need to be working on that diligently now while the museum is closed and going to be closed for the foreseeable future. And I also agree that there needs to be a process that involves the community. There's been quite a bit of expression of interest in participating in some kind of process on what we want the museum to be. My suggestion would be that we use the format that TSEP developed for the city of Tiffin and Seneca County, specifically in response to the riverfront development and how kind of the granting of the rights to develop public ground, that there was some folks who had the sense that there should have been more public input into that process within RFP and whatnot. So I think, you know, TSEP did a lot of work developing that, and this would be a good test.
We're losing you, Kate.
Dominion over. So, you know, the way we can incorporate the.
Shane, you're not coming through at all. In fact, he's on mute. Tony, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, so Shane is kind of canceled out here for whatever reason. Okay, well, just,
Jace doesn't.
okay, you're back. Shane, you were not audible.
Froze. In a second.
Yep. Can't hear you, Shane.
Still frozen. Okay, well, I will try to, I think I'll try to sum what Shane was talking about. I was part of that committee talking about how we can better look at new projects or transformational projects that are coming to Tiffin. There is a plan that the city and TSEP and the county have put together about looking at those things. My answer to that is that there has been more than sufficient time for public comment on this project. We have had hours of conversations in board meetings with folks on both sides of this equation, both the Historical Society and the foundation. The input has been enormous. My suggestion or my thought there is that if we continue to do things as we have done them in the past and expect a different result, I think we're kidding ourselves. I've got no problem with as much input as necessary, but frankly, I have had 6 years worth of input, and what I had presented today is the conclusion of all those conversations. All we're going to get going forward is a lot of emotion and a lot of opinion. And I think that we need to boil it down to what is a good objective decision and what are the facts, as opposed to being overly concerned about hurting people's feelings.
Okay, so I'm going to put my thoughts together. I've read Shane's, I've seen yours, Mike. So I've got a few thoughts, and I'll have those ready for next meeting. So That's my only comment right now.
Okay, any other additional discussion about this topic? Hearing none, I guess we are at new business. Stacy, sewer request.
And that one, unless Charlene's willing to do it, I can't pull it up on my, I'm on my phone now, so I don't have that request. Charlene, you want to do that today or wait till next week?
Is that for the Bascom person?
Yes.
I prefer that we hold that for Mark because there's probably going to be some questions for him.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, supplemental appropriations and fund transfers, you have that available?
Yes. We have a request from Juvenile Probate Court into their Special Projects Fund. They're asking for $5,500 in equipment. I don't have it on my screen, so I can't see her description, but I know it's her Special Projects Fund. I just don't know what the equipment is right now. Obviously, that's her special projects grant funding. And then I have a supplemental appropriation for the County Township Road Construction Grant Fund. This wasn't on the original agenda. Charlene had asked that I add this. This is for the issue 1. So they're asking for $1,236,353.24. Then I have a fund transfer to be made to the Children's Services Fund. And again, this is what Kathy came on to go over where we're at on foster care amounts right now. So we have a transfers out of $150,000 to the transfers in the Children's Services Fund. This was in our budget. We talked about it last year. We gave additional funding last year, and she's now asking for this year's. Kathy, do you want to go into that at all? Jimmy, I sent you her email with the graph on it. I know you're busy with a million things. I didn't know if you could bring that up. I can't do that.
Yeah, I'm working on pulling that up right now. Just give me a moment.
Okay. Kathy, are you there?
Good morning, everyone. I'll let you know what's going on. We've visited you a few times about our cost for foster care. I will tell you 85% of our current cases are due to substance abuse in the family. We currently have 21 kids in care, and you can see by that graph what's happening. Our average monthly cost in 2016 was $18,000.120. Our average cost currently is $93,489. We project that this year will end up about 1.1 million for foster care, and next year we predict it's going to be about 1.2 million if things continue on this path. So that is why we're asking for the 150,000. I'm going to be sensitive to everyone's battery life. I'm so sorry about your power issues. Is there any additional information you would like from me or questions for me?
Just very quickly, Kathy, let me make sure I understand. Foster care in 2019 was 18,000 a month on average?
2016. I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly.
Okay. You probably didn't. I probably didn't hear you. But this year it's 93,000 a month?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Kathy, do you anticipate any other requests between now and the end of the year?
Hopefully, no. That should get us through the rest of the year. Again, we can never predict what's going to happen or what kids are going to come into care, but with our projections and our historical view of things, it looks like that should get us through the year.
And if you can answer this, do it. If you can't, I understand, but as we commissioners discuss next year's budget, you have your budget. Are you anticipating what kind of increase in your budget related to child care?
Sure, I have some notes here. That's a great question, Commissioner. Our increase from 19 to 2020 was about 4%. We estimate based on our current expenditures that we're going to have an increase of 10% next year. Steve is estimating that would result in a request from us to you for 300,000 next year unless something changes. Again, one of the lights in the tunnel is Family First is a federal legislation coming into play in January. And the intent of that legislation is to take less kids into care and treat them and work with the family in the home. There's a lot of building of services. We're discussing lots of services. But I would say I don't think that's going to happen day one of a new program. That's going to take us a minute to build that. So that is my hope, that we would get to lower costs based on that new legislation, but we're just not quite there yet.
Well,
Sometimes the light in the tunnel is a train coming at you.
Well, that could be too.
well, Kathy, we really, really appreciate all the hard work you're doing out there, and thank you for the report.
Oh gosh, thank you. Well, it's our amazing staff, to be honest. They are working so hard and they have been really brave through this COVID stuff. And I just appreciate your support for them. They're doing a great job.
Thanks for the report, Kathy. Appreciate it very much. Okay, Stace, on to authorizing the 2020 sewer rates.
Yep, I have a resolution authorizing the 2020 sewer rates for 23 and 224 sewer districts starting in the fourth quarter. She's got listed here Alveda construction current rate $8.85, proposed rate $1,024.65. Osserman Automotive from $234.66 to $431.10. Mark Mac 450 to $1,219.95. Sand G Stores from $883.61 to $958.95. And then Sunny Junction from $253.49 to $396.90.
Those sound to me to be pretty large percentage increases. Is there reasoning behind?
Charlene, were you involved in this discussion?
Hi, yes, I am here. Mark did reevaluate all of the accounts on 23-224 due to Sunny Farms no longer being part of the payment schedule as they were before. And he has not, or rates have not been increased since 2016. So he installed some flow meters to see what kind of usage was going on and determined that based off of the usage and the expenses for said area, this would be the appropriate proposed rate. I do know that Mark is unavailable this week. He will be available next week to talk further if you need him to, but we wanted to at least get this on the agenda for you.
Okay, so these are rates that are increased from 2016. They haven't been touched since then, and these are the new ones then, right?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thanks.
Ben Nutter, are you on? I just want to, if there's any update on Sunny Farms flowing into the sewer.
Yes, Commissioner, I am on. Appreciate the question. We have had very, very productive talks with the city's treatment plant and council and the mayor. Mayor's been very helpful, and we've been working in conjunction with their expansion and improvement of their plant, working to figure out the compatibility of our wastewater that needs treated at a wastewater treatment plant, with the intent of, this being a positive thing for the city of Fostoria. They're going to get, a bunch of revenue from that and that's always a good thing for them. But we want to make sure that. So I guess let me back up, Commissioner. Our wastewater, there was some concern that it was off gassing when we put it through the sewer system. We now treat that water at our system, at our facility, to bind up that hydrogen sulfide so that it doesn't off gas and doesn't, have that odor. So the short answer is we're working very hard to get it to the point where we can truck back into the city of Fostoria. And then the eventual goal is to work with the city to help improve that system and ensure that, our wastewater wouldn't off gas, or anybody's sewer. Obviously, SO2 is, or hydrogen sulfide is considered a sewer gas. So it doesn't really have to be Sunny Farms. It could be, any entity that's pumping through that sewer line. There's some improvements that need to be made so it doesn't, find its way into people's homes or coming up through the combined sewer. Those sewers need to be separated. So we are working very hard to make that happen, but it's going to be a while for sure.
So Ben, it's possible at some point you will be tapping back into the sewer system and then paying a fee. And if I remember right, it was about $10,000 a year. Is that close?
Yeah, I think it was more than that. Actually, I think it was right in the 7,000 a quarter, but
maybe a quarter.
I hear a lot of numbers, but yeah, the eventual, absolutely, the eventual goal is that we would be back into that sewer system, because that's designed for a higher flow, and it's helpful in terms of the sewer line itself if that flow goes through there. But yeah, we certainly have the desire to make that happen, and we're willing to put the resources towards that are necessary to make that happen. But we want to make sure that it's done the right way. So it's going to take a little time.
Yeah, and the city of Fostoria has to be ready as well. So I guess in summary, I agree with Commissioner Kirschner. It just feels like we've all owned businesses. So to the businesses that are affected, it's an ouch. I guess the answer to that, the only relief is you haven't had a raise since 16, and that hopefully at some point in the future, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 years from now, maybe there'll be a rate adjustment back down as that's spread over now Sunny Farms back in, on the line. That in effect may lower the rates back the other end. So the remaining entities are just carrying the weight basically on a private system is what it's coming down to, I think. Does that make sense, commissioners?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Thank you, Ben.
I
I think we have a motion, or do we have a motion?
I need one more. I got one more.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have a resolution certifying unpaid assessments to the county auditor for collection under Ohio Revised Code section 6117.02. They've got all the sewer districts. I'm just going to combine them. These are individuals that have not paid their assessment. It will go on their taxes. So Bascom area, the total $11,079.43. The Hammer Heinzman area, $1,869.20. For Honey Creek, $5,897.03. New Regal area, $28,724.66 for a grand total that will go on collections will be $47,570.32. The resolution does include all of the individual properties that will be assessed.
Okay,
And that's the last one I have.
much anxious to make a motion, go ahead.
So moved.
I'll second. Second.
Any additional discussion at all? Hearing none, Nikki, you're up.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, so the time has come for public comment. For those of us who still have some battery life left. Do we have any power at the commissioner's office yet, by the way?
Nope, not yet.
No? Okay.
Boy.
So, Jimmy, it's time to open it up.
Okay, so just a reminder to everybody, if you're on the phone lines, you can hit *6 to unmute. Otherwise, you can hit that unmute button and come forward with your public comments now.
Audrey Flood, there she is.
Good morning, everyone. Did you think you were going to get away without hearing from me today?
We didn't know if you had power where you're at.
We do down here, yeah. So if anybody needs to, come use our Wi-Fi, let us know. Just a couple of things from us today. Amy, you wanted me to remind you all about the Heritage Ohio Conference that's going on right now. I know Shane has attended some of those, and the mayor has attended some of those sessions, but you can attend those sessions for free. And the last day is tomorrow, so there's still another couple of ones you can join on. Also, the month of September is the downtown celebration. Normally we would have the big summit event. Since we can't do that, we are doing the 3 other things. So right now we're doing some highlights of downtown items on Facebook and social media. And then starting on Monday, you will see big red stickers on the sidewalks downtown that will have a QR code that will take you to videos. So you can do kind of a walking stroll around downtown to see some highlights. So make sure you check that out starting next week. We've had quite a few announcements and press releases come out over the last week. So make sure you're following us on social media, checking our website. We've had some industrial announcements and new businesses. One of our recent businesses that just opened, there's a ribbon cutting later today for them. That's Happy Days Nutrition. And just, I guess, continuing to, reach out to businesses. If you all know of anyone that needs help, there are still resources out there. Can't think of anything else specific at the moment. Like Shane mentioned, we did have the downtown planning meeting this morning. Thank you to those of you who were involved in that. Yeah, nothing else from us. Is there any other questions for TSEP today?
I'm glad that you mentioned the red stickers. Is that what it's going to be? And how access information from those?
So it's a QR code. So that's the little boxes that have all the little black and white squares that you stick your phone in front of it, and the camera uses that code to pull up a video. So that will be explained on Facebook as well, and we can kind of walk people through how to do those. But really all you do is open your camera and point it at the QR code on the sticker, and it should pop up.
The reason I mention it is because Amy has called and asked permission to put one of those codes somewhere on the courthouse property, because the courthouse, one of those things, I want to make sure the commissioners don't have any problem with that. They want to do it someplace near the entrance, right? Off of Market Street.
I believe so, yes.
And I don't know if Stacy, if we need to get the judge's approval for that. I'm fine with it. I don't know what the other commissioners think, but as people do the tour of downtown, one of the sites that would be explained on this video is I assume the construction and the makeup of the courthouse, or the history of the courthouse, or something of that nature.
I will have to check. I'm not 100% sure which video would be connected to the one that would be placed there. I will have to check on that for you, or you can reach back out to Amy to see what the content of that video would be. But I will note that these stickers that are going on the sidewalk are temporary and come up with no problem. So,
do we have any objection, commissioners, to putting one of those stickers near the courthouse entrance?
I love it. I love the whole concept.
Same here. No objection here.
Stacy, do you think we need judge's approval for this?
I'll send a buildings and grounds request over to Amy, see if she can just fill it out, at least so the judges have the information.
Okay, very good. All right.
Oh, one more thing. We do have a free business webinar that we are hosting tomorrow at 10 a.m. This will cover all current SBA and USDA programs that are open to small businesses, of which there are many. There are debt relief and many other programs that are open through both of those organizations or agencies for small businesses. So at 10 a.m., hop on that webinar. You can find information about that on our website, on our Facebook, or just call us and ask, and we'll try to keep it brief and just get the information out about those programs. If you join the webinar live, you can interact with our panelists and ask some questions, but it will also be recorded, and then we will post the recording of that webinar on our website and social media as well. So if anyone wants to access it afterwards, it can be shared and they can view it later. Any questions on that?
None. Thank you for your presentation. As always, Audrey, thank you.
Commissioner Kirschner, we have Charlene Watkins next for public comment.
Yes, hit it.
Good morning, commissioners and everybody. I just want to give you a few updates from regional planning. So the program year 19 CDBG grant is in full swing. We have completed the sidewalk in Bloomville around the park and the ball diamond. There's actually brand new sidewalk installed. We encourage you to go take a look at that. The homeless prevention portion of the grant, we have met our unit goal, but we still have about $2,000 to spend. So Fostoria United Way is in process of finding a couple more families to assist. The Eden Township project at Melmore Park is going to be very interesting starting next week. Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. the vault restroom will be delivered and installed. So if you're up for a little tour or visit, you're welcome to go see the crane in action. I'm sure that I will be present if I don't have anything else on my schedule. I always like to be there when things are happening. And then the other project in Eden Township, which is a new pavilion, we are working with Republic Lumber, trying to spend those dollars locally to get the quote updated properly and get that out, and hoping to have it approved next week so they can start the installation of that. So we are on target with the CDBG grant. Things are looking really good. The next thing we'd like to announce, if you haven't seen it in the press releases, social media, the city of Tiffin has been awarded a reservation of $150,000 from the AEP grant for 2 EV charging stations in City Lot 7. So we are going to be working on facilitating that with them as well. And then I think there's just our outreach to our villages and townships for the CARES Act. We'll follow up as well this week and next with a few of them to just kind of vet some more of those ideas. If you have anything or need anything from us, please let me know. Thanks.
Charlene, I've got a couple things on the chargers. First, congratulations. Thanks for sticking with that. And congratulations to the mayor and the city for leading on that. That's really good. Those DC fast chargers are going to be important to us long term. Is the next step with that, will that go out to bid, or how's the funding of that going to work?
So the next step is that ABM already was approved as the contractor for that for the city. So ABM is in the process of working with AEP. They have to get some permits for installation and go to Richland County for building permits and getting specifications approved. So that is what's under process right now. Once that's done, they'll work with AEP for a load and transmission approval. And then when that's done, they actually start construction. Once construction's done, AEP comes out to certify, and then they're activated. ABM has assured us that it's a pretty smooth process once all the building permits are approved. So that could cause a little hiccup getting the building permits approved, because as we all know, it does take a little time going through Richland County, but we are in process. The city of Tiffin is to be working on the appropriation for the reimbursement. That's at their next council meeting. So we're heading in the right direction. It does not have to go out to bid because ABM did do all of the quotes and was approved previously by AEP.
And then Charlene, Mayor Keckler's on this call. Is there? I think there is. I just want you to clarify with me. Is there another application floating around out there for a charging station for the city of Fostoria?
That is correct, Commissioner. There is an application with AEP for a charging station in Fostoria. I always call it the Dell's parking lot. That's what I'm used to calling it growing up,
Yeah.
but it's for that
Right.
parking lot. As soon as, it's basically as soon as AEP has more funds, we are hoping for that reservation to come through. And that's basically how it's been explained to us. When funding's available, we'll be notified of our reservations. So,
Thank you.
no problem.
Charlene, just remember that we do have local companies that can do that for you if you need another bid on that or something. We do have locals that can do that.
Have that. Thanks, Stace.
Thanks.
Okay, Jimmy, anybody else out there?
I do not see anything right now, but this is your last chance. Star 6 to unmute if you're on the phone line, or come forward and hit that unmute button now if you'd like to speak.
Okay. Hearing none, we are adjourned, 11 a.m. Enjoy the day, everyone.